Imagine waking up in ancient Rome, not the Rome of marble statues and perfect columns, not the Rome of emperors standing beneath golden sunlight while thousands of people admire them. Imagine the real Rome, a Rome of narrow streets, crowded apartment buildings, smoky kitchens, noisy markets, strange smells, dangerous traffic, limited medicine, and a society where almost everyone knows exactly where they stand. You have arrived with nothing: no phone, no electricity, no clean running water in your room, no refrigerator, no supermarket, no modern medicine, and perhaps most importantly, no idea what anyone is saying. You are standing in one of the greatest cities the ancient world has ever known, and you have 7 days to survive it. The first thing you notice is the noise. It begins before sunrise. Somewhere nearby, a wooden cart is rolling across uneven paving stones. The wheels creak loudly as they pass over the road. An animal makes an unpleasant sound. Someone is shouting. Someone else is shouting back. Then comes the smell: smoke, bread, animals, human waste, fish, sweat, whetstone, and something burning that you decide not to investigate. You open your eyes and remember that you are not in your own time anymore. You are in ancient Rome, and your first day has only just begun. You step into the street. The city is already awake. People are moving in every direction. Merchants are opening their shops. Workers are carrying baskets. Animals are being led through the crowded streets. Children run between adults. Somewhere nearby, a baker is preparing bread, and the smell is one of the few things that feels familiar. You try to understand what people are saying. You cannot. The language sounds familiar enough to suggest that you should understand it, but strange enough to remind you that you do not. You are surrounded by thousands of people, and yet you are completely alone. This is your first problem. Ancient Rome is not a small village where everyone knows everyone else. It is an enormous city. People arrive from across the Roman world. Soldiers, merchants, workers, travelers, slaves, freed people, wealthy families, immigrants, and officials all pass through the same streets. The city is full of opportunities. It is also full of people who know how to take advantage of someone who does not understand the rules. You have no money, you have no friends, you have no family, you have no idea where you are going, and you need somewhere to sleep. This sounds simple. It is not. If you are wealthy, ancient Rome offers beautiful houses with gardens, fountains, courtyards, servants, and private rooms. But you are not wealthy. You are an unknown stranger who has arrived with nothing. So you need an apartment. The typical Roman apartment building is known as an insula. The word means island. It is a fitting name because the building stands surrounded by streets, like an island in the middle of a crowded sea of people. Some insulae are reasonably comfortable, others are not, many are tall. The higher the floor, the cheaper the rent tends to be. This makes sense. The lower floors are easier to reach. They are more convenient. They may have better construction. They may be less dangerous. The upper floors are cheaper because living there is less pleasant. You are shown a room several floors above the street. You look at the stairs. They are narrow. The lighting is poor. People are moving in both directions. Someone is carrying a basket. Someone else is carrying a child. A dog is attempting to go down while you are attempting to go up. You finally reach your room. It is small. There is a simple bed, perhaps a mattress stuffed with straw. There is a small table. There is a clay lamp. The walls are rough. The room is not comfortable, but you are tired. You decide that you can survive one night. Then you realize you have another problem. You need food. You step back into the street. Ancient Rome has food everywhere. There are bakeries, markets, taverns, food stalls, merchants selling fruit, vegetables, bread, fish, meat, olives, cheese, and countless other things. You approach a food stall. There is bread. Good. You recognize bread. There are olives, probably safe. There are vegetables. You think they are vegetables. There is meat. You are less certain about the meat. And there is a dark liquid being poured into clay containers. You ask what it is. The answer is garum, fish sauce. But this is not a small bottle of modern sauce sitting in a supermarket. This is fermented fish. Fish, salt, thyme, and a process that you decide not to think about too carefully. The Romans love it. You're not sure how you feel about it. You buy some bread. You buy something that looks reasonably safe. You sit down and eat. The food is actually delicious. This is one of the first surprises of ancient Rome. The past was not a world without good food. Romans ate bread, olives, vegetables, fruits, cheese, fish, meat, nuts, herbs, spices, and honey. The wealthy could enjoy elaborate meals with exotic ingredients. Ordinary people ate much more simply, but simple food could still be satisfying. You finish your meal, you feel relieved. For a moment, you think perhaps ancient Rome will not be so difficult after all. Then you return to your apartment. The sun disappears. You lie down on your mattress. And the building begins to make noise. Someone is walking above you. Someone is arguing below you. A baby is crying. A dog is barking. A cart is passing outside. A drunk person is singing. You close your eyes. The city continues. You try to sleep. You finally do. And then, a few hours later, you wake up again. Your first day in ancient Rome is over. You have survived, but you have not slept properly. And tomorrow you will need to find your way through the city. When you wake on the second day, you are exhausted. You have learned something important. Ancient Rome does not seem to believe that mornings should be quiet. The city begins moving early, very early. You step outside and immediately find yourself surrounded by people. The street is narrow. The buildings rise above you. The upper floors create deep shadows. Shops are opening. Merchants are shouting. Workers are carrying heavy objects. Animals are everywhere. You begin walking. You quickly discover that Roman streets are not designed for peaceful wandering. A cart suddenly appears ahead of you. It is large, it is heavy, it is being pulled by animals, and it is moving directly toward you. You step to the side. The cart passes close enough that you feel the air move. You realize that the street has no modern traffic system. There are no traffic lights, no painted lanes, no pedestrian crossings, no quiet electric cars waiting patiently for you to cross. There are animals, carts, people, and confusion. In some areas of Rome, restrictions were placed on wheeled traffic during certain times because the streets were so crowded. But this did not make the city peaceful. At night, carts could still move through the streets. The sound of wheels rolling over stone could echo between the buildings. The city was not quiet simply because the sun had disappeared. You continue walking. The pavement is uneven. Your shoes are not ideal. You are used to smooth roads. You are used to cars following rules. You are used to knowing where you are going. Ancient Rome offers none of these comforts. You walk past a public fountain. A group of people is collecting water. Someone is carrying a large clay jar. Someone else is carrying two. You begin to appreciate something you have never thought about before. Water is heavy. In the modern world, you turn a handle and water appears. In ancient Rome, water has to come from somewhere. Rome is famous for its aqueducts, and for good reason. The Roman water system was extraordinary. Water could be transported across great distances. Fountains and public water facilities provided access to the city's population. But an aqueduct does not mean that every apartment has a private tap. You still need to obtain the water. You still need to carry it. Someone still has to lift it. Someone still has to transport it through the streets. If you are wealthy, servants can help. If you are poor, you may have to do the work yourself. You watch people moving through the streets with heavy containers. You begin to understand that daily life is filled with physical tasks that modern people rarely think about. Carrying water, grinding grain, washing clothes, preparing food, collecting fuel, moving goods, walking everywhere. The ancient world is not necessarily exhausting because every moment is dramatic. It is exhausting because ordinary life requires constant effort. You continue exploring the city. You pass shops and workshops. You see people working with leather, metal, wood, clay, and cloth. You see merchants selling goods from across the Roman world. The city is incredibly connected. Spices arrive from distant lands. Grain arrives from the provinces. Wine arrives from different regions. Luxury goods travel across enormous distances. Ancient Rome is not an isolated settlement. It is the center of a massive empire. And yet, despite this impressive network, you are still lost. You turn down a street, then another. You realize that you no longer know where you are. The buildings all begin to look similar. The crowds become thicker. The noise becomes louder. You try to ask for directions. The person you speak to does not understand you. You try again. This does not help. Eventually, after a long and humiliating journey, you find your way back to your apartment. You have spent most of the day walking. Your feet hurt, your clothes are dusty, your head hurts, and you are beginning to wonder whether people in ancient Rome ever simply stayed at home. The answer is probably yes, but your home is a tiny room, and the city is outside. On the third day, you begin to feel more confident. You know where to find bread. You know where the public fountain is. You have learned to move away from carts. You have learned which streets lead back to your apartment. You have even learned a few words. You feel that you are beginning to understand the city. Then you become hungry. You decide to eat somewhere new. This is where your confidence becomes dangerous. You walk toward a food stall. The smell is wonderful. There is bread. There are roasted foods. There are herbs and spices. There are vegetables. There are fish. You choose something that looks delicious. You eat it. You wait. Nothing happens. You begin to relax. Then you remember that you have no idea how the food was stored. You have no idea how long it has been sitting there. You have no idea how clean the water was. You have no idea what the ingredients actually are. In the modern world, food safety is something most people take for granted. You open a refrigerator, you check an expiration date, you wash your hands with clean water, you cook food at controlled temperatures, you store leftovers in a sealed container. Ancient Romans had methods of preserving food. They salted it, dried it, smoked it, pickled it, fermented it. They were not ignorant of food preservation, but they did not understand bacteria. They did not know about microorganisms multiplying invisibly on food. They did not have modern refrigeration, they did not have modern food safety systems, and they could not simply call a doctor if something went wrong. You drink from a cup. The water tastes different. You decide that it is probably fine. You continue walking. By the afternoon, your stomach feels uncomfortable. You tell yourself that it is nothing. You have eaten unfamiliar food. Your body is adjusting. By evening, you are less certain. You return to your room. You lie down. You begin to wonder whether you made a terrible mistake. The next morning, you feel better. You have survived. But you have learned another lesson. In ancient Rome, food is not simply food. Water is not simply water. Everything requires knowledge. The people who live here know what to eat. They know where to buy it. They know how to prepare it. They know which water sources to trust. They have learned through experience. You have not. You are still a stranger. And the city does not slow down for strangers. On the fourth day, you decide to travel farther. You want to see more of Rome. You have heard about the great public buildings, the temples, the forums, the markets, the baths, the monuments. You want to see the city that everyone talks about. You begin walking. The streets become more crowded. You are surrounded by people from different parts of the empire. Some speak Latin, some speak Greek. Others speak languages you do not recognize. There are merchants from distant provinces, soldiers, workers, slaves, freed people, wealthy citizens, poor families, children, travelers. The city is a mixture of people from across the Roman world. You move with the crowd. Then a cart appears. You step aside. Another cart appears. You step aside again. A group of animals blocks the street. You wait. Someone pushes past you. Someone else shouts. You have no idea what happened. You continue moving. Eventually, you reach a larger public area. Here, the city opens up. You see columns, temples, statues, public buildings. The scale is astonishing. Ancient Rome is not simply a collection of small villages. It is a city built to impress. The architecture is enormous. The roads connect vast territories. The buildings express power. The monuments are designed to make ordinary people feel small, and they work. You stand beneath enormous columns. You look upward. For a moment, you forget the noise. You forget the crowded apartment. You forget the questionable meal. You forget the carts. You are simply amazed. This is the Rome people dream about, the Rome of history books, the Rome of marble and monuments. But then you turn around, and the reality returns. A crowd pushes past you. Someone is arguing. A child is crying. A merchant is shouting. A dog is barking. A cart is trying to move through the crowd. You realize that the beautiful Rome and the difficult Rome are the same place. The monumental city and the exhausting city exist together. The incredible engineering and the limited sanitation exist together. The wealth and the poverty exist together. The beauty and the danger exist together. On the fifth day, you wake with a headache. It is not necessarily serious. But you do not know that. In your own time, you might take a tablet. You might check your temperature. You might visit a doctor. You might search for information. In ancient Rome, your options are different. Roman medicine can be surprisingly advanced in some ways. Doctors understand many injuries. They use medical tools. They perform surgery. Military medicine can be highly organized. Some Roman physicians understand the importance of cleanliness in certain situations, but medicine is not modern medicine. There are no antibiotics. There is no modern understanding of viruses. There is no reliable treatment for many infections. There are no modern emergency rooms. There are no advanced scans. There are no machines monitoring your heart. If you become seriously ill, the situation can change quickly. A small wound can become dangerous. A fever can become frightening. A tooth problem can become serious. A stomach illness can weaken you. You have no idea how to judge the danger. You look at the small cut on your hand. You do not remember where you got it. You begin to think about everything you have touched: the food stall, the fountain, the walls, the door, the street. You decide not to think about it. This is probably wise. Ancient people were not constantly dying from every small scratch. Human beings are remarkably good at surviving, but the risks were real. The danger was not always one dramatic event. Sometimes it was the accumulation of small problems: a bad meal, a contaminated wound, a fever, a lack of sleep, a crowded living space, poor nutrition, dirty water, a disease moving through the city. You begin to understand that surviving in ancient Rome is not about avoiding one enormous disaster. It is about successfully navigating thousands of ordinary dangers. You visit a physician. The room is small. There are jars of herbs. There are instruments. There are bandages. The physician examines you. You try to explain what is wrong. You are not sure whether he understands. He gives you advice, perhaps medicine, perhaps a mixture of herbs, perhaps something that you do not recognize. You leave. You feel slightly better. Or perhaps you simply feel better because someone has told you that you will be fine. You decide that this is enough. On the sixth day, you make a different kind of mistake. You speak to the wrong person, not because you are rude, not because you are aggressive, simply because you do not understand the social rules. Ancient Rome is a society of hierarchy. Everyone has a place: citizens, non-citizens, freed people, enslaved people, senators, soldiers, merchants, workers, the wealthy, the poor, and many categories in between. Your clothing tells people something about you. Your name tells people something. Your companions tell people something. Where you live tells people something. Who you know matters. What you do matters. And the way you behave matters. Modern societies often speak about equality. Ancient Rome does not pretend that everyone is equal. The hierarchy is visible. It is part of daily life. You see a wealthy man walking through the street. People move aside. He has attendants. He has clients. He has people who depend on him. You do not know whether you should move aside. The man looks at you. You move aside. You have learned. The Roman system of patronage is particularly important. A powerful person may have clients who depend on him. In return, clients may offer loyalty, support, political assistance, or social services. The relationship is not simply friendship, it is a network, a system of obligation. You begin to realize that survival in Rome depends not only on money, it depends on relationships. Who can help you? Who knows your name? Who can introduce you to someone? Who can provide work? Who can provide food? Who can provide protection? You have none of these things. You are alone. And being alone in ancient Rome is a serious disadvantage. You need work. But you have no skills that anyone recognizes. You do not know the trades. You do not know the language well enough. You do not know the people who hire workers. You do not know the wages. You do not know the customs. In the modern world, you might search for a job online, you might send a resume, you might attend an interview. In ancient Rome, finding work depends heavily on personal connections and practical skills. You watch people working: a blacksmith, a baker, a merchant, a builder, a craftsman, a cleaner, a porter, a servant. Every job requires knowledge. You have arrived with none. The city is filled with opportunities, but you are not prepared to take advantage of them. You begin to understand why people in the ancient world depended so heavily on family, community, and networks of relationships. Being independent sounds admirable, but complete independence is difficult when there is no social safety net waiting for you. On the seventh day, you wake before sunrise. You have survived almost an entire week. You have eaten Roman food. You have slept in a Roman apartment. You have crossed Roman streets. You have carried water. You have avoided carts. You have survived a headache. You have learned not to stand too close to suspicious animals. You have learned that not every Roman is interested in helping strange you.